Folks, welcome back into the QB Huddle Podcast. I am joined, of course, by my podcast partner, Brandon Newey.
Oh,
Brandon, how are you?
I'm great.
Doing good?
Great. Yeah, man. I'm surviving. You know, a little setback.
Got your Laker purple on today, or is that
Got my Laker purple on, man.
Is that Minnesota? Maybe?
Hell, I don't know.
Vikings fan? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe a little bit. Nah, not at all.
Hey,
That's sexo.
McCarthy is killing it. He replaced Sam Darnold yesterday in the team. Sam Darnold couldn't get the ball moving. He went in and they scored 7 out of 7 touchdowns.
You've had binoculars on with your guy literally this entire process.
I'm watching.
I haven't really. I mean, I'll be honest. I've been watching a little bit, but now Good Morning Football's on. You know, finally getting back into the football field. It was kind of a little hit or miss. You know, I was out in DR, Dominican Republic, for about a week, and that was really fun. Yeah. With some of the Dallas City bro, man, it was a great time, man. Shout out to DC and Nart and his birthday. Man, they set it up real well. It was a great experience, and you truly feel very appreciative of the country you live in. Let me tell you that.
Oh yeah.
That's first and foremost. I mean, that was definitely an experience, and it's truly humbling. But man, we had a great time, and so it's good to be back in the saddle right now, and good to be back here with my podcast buddy. And let's see what we can spark up in season 2, man. I think it's interesting.
It's going to be fun. And guys, we don't have a lot to talk about today, but there are a few subjects that we want to touch on. We want to touch on the contracts surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. We want to talk about who has pressure coming into 2024. We want to talk about a comment that was made by Coach John Harbaugh a couple weeks ago saying that Lamar Jackson will go down as the best quarterback in NFL history. Kind of want to discuss that. And then we want to get into this top 100 list. There were 16 quarterbacks on the list. And we kind of want to just have some fun with that, see what you all think. Hopefully that will spark some discussion. But Brandon, before we get too far into this Cowboy talk, there's some breaking 49er news. And that is that your guy, Christian McCaffrey, has a hurt calf, which I believe he's had before. You correct me if I'm wrong, but he's got a hurt calf. And he is not able to practice, or at least extremely limited. They just broke that news a minute ago. Man, how does that make you feel a couple weeks out of game 1 of the season? Christian McCaffrey injured.
It's unfortunate. I mean, when you put a lot of pressure on a guy, a lot of volume, those things tend to happen. I'm glad we re-signed him, but you know, we know what he can do, right? I'm saying they know what they can do. Sit him down. You know, allow him to rest, you know, give Jordan Mason, we just signed Matt Breida, which is a former 49er. Yep. Get him back in the offense, you know, get these guys going, because it's going to take a stable for us to go back to the top. It's not just going to be solely on Christian. As you know, we got the Brandon Ayuk, you know, contract disputes. I feel right now they're in a good position, but right now just rest. I don't really feel any of the top guys need to play in the preseason. Per se, I mean, you got to get ready for New York Jets, and they're coming into your home. That's a very aggressive defense. We need all hands on deck on that. So if we can just reduce his touches and just allow him to sit and get rehab, do that, man, because you're the best back in the league. Like, we go as you go. You know, just not hitting the panic button, but you know, I'm glad we have an opportunity to rest him before we overuse him, you know, because that's what.
Well, it looks like you're going to lose Ayuk. I mean,
I don't know yet.
He's going to be traded. You would think.
I don't know yet.
Great. Christian McCaffrey yesterday in his interview talked about him as a ex-teammate. Kind of slipped out of his mouth a little bit, unfortunately. You know, you hate to say everyone's kind of distracted by these kinds of conversations.
Sure.
And you know, as you as a fan, do you want them to give Ayuk what he wants, or are you ready for them to make that trade, or is he being too demanding with his trades? Because from what I understand, it's I only want to be traded to a team that will extend me or that I want to be extended with. So he told Cleveland no. He told New England no. Is he asking too much?
Listen, he's a young guy that this is his first big contract. This is generational money that he's dealing with. He's had 2 back-to-back 80-yard catch seasons. I like Ayuk, but I feel right now where the 49ers are at with negotiations, I feel that is more than fair of what they're trying to give him. I think it's between 26 and 27 million compared to the 30. I mean, we have to understand they are the 49ers are last in passing attempts. We can't have it's very unlikely to have 25 million plus guys, right? You would figure more volume will come that way. Now, granted, Debo does a little bit, different things compared to Ayuk, but I feel like as far as Ayuk's talent, does he deserve it? Yeah, he deserves it. That's just what the market is. I mean, you can't tell me he's not just as good as Amon St. Brown or some of these other guys, that are actually, getting a bag. I feel right now he's just looking for financial security. The taxes are very high in California. I mean, there's a lot that plays in a favor, but if you go to a team where you get paid 30-something million, but they can't do anything, right? Then you're screwed. Right, so it's all just about the money. Or do you want to come back? It is still a top 5 deal, and you have an opportunity to build something with a quarterback that you're familiar with. You know this offense for 4 years. They extend you. You're in contention. I'd love to keep him, but not at the expense of paying him X amount of dollars. It's no disrespect to BA. It's just that's just business. It's no hard feelings. We'd love to keep him, but man, you're making it really hard, and you're young. Yeah, you're a young negotiator, so you're pretty.
You mentioned some of those other receivers that are getting the bag. Justin Jefferson,
but he's different.
St. Brown,
he's different.
Hopefully, CeeDee Lamb, but the offenses revolve around those guys and those with those teams. And in San Francisco, he's not the vocal point of the offense. The offense, yes, he's a good player, but the offense.
He's the leading receiver. He's our leading receiver.
Right, but it doesn't revolve around him.
No, it doesn't.
When Debo came out. That's who the offense revolves around. Debo and Christian McCaffrey. So
both the same skill set. Mm-hmm.
When you look at it from a GM standpoint, and where's your money going to go, you don't really need that CeeDee Lamb type receiver to have success in San Francisco. That's not what your model is. So you know what? Let him go somewhere. But if you're Brandon Ayuk, I'd have to think quarterback matters, situation matters. But I'm getting the sense with some of these younger players, this younger generation, winning's not important to them.
It's all about the money. It's not about legacy. I mean, they want to be the highest paid. I mean, now when you get these receivers that get these crazy contracts, they flush out. I mean, you can't name me a person who really proved their big contract outside of a Megatron or Antonio Brown. You can't name me one.
Right.
Outside of those two. Those two are different, right? Can Justin Jefferson do that? Absolutely. I mean, the guy's amazing. Could CeeDee Lamb do that? Absolutely. Guy's amazing. But it's that mentality, man. When they get that first bag, they're not thinking they're getting another bag. So they're like checked out after that. Now, he's coming up on a contract extension. Do we say, hey, this is what we're going to do? You could take the deal or we're going to franchise tag you. You're going to be pissed off, but guess what? You have an opportunity to play well and above, and you'll probably get more going into next season. And I don't think Brock Purdy's the type of guy, as we get into these contract things, I don't think Brock Purdy's the type of guy that's going to take a max deal. I don't think he's going to do it.
He's not. And he could.
He understands what it is.
Reset the market quarterback, and I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. I think he'll get paid top 10 money and keep it at that. Get paid 40, 45 and keep it pushing, man. You went from $2 million in earnings to 45. I think that's a massive difference. Let's not get over greedy and deplete our team.
That brings us to our next conversation, and this could get.
That was a good little guide in, didn't
it? Yeah, it was. This could get a little heated, maybe not between us, but it could get heated out there because I'll tell you, I've been having these conversations with people all over social media. Ooh, and people just don't grasp, I guess, what I'm trying to get across when it comes to Dak Prescott. But Dak, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons all need to get paid. Now, Micah Parsons has been clear to say, hey, the contract stuff is going to take care of itself. My job is to go out there and produce. So he's not holding out. He's not looking to get paid this year. He knows he's got to go out there and prove it. I love that attitude that he's got.
It's a good attitude.
Lamb, I understand why he's doing what he's doing. What I don't understand is why the Cowboys haven't pulled the trigger and got him into camp today, Tuesday the 7th, or Wednesday the 7th rather. They put him on the do not report list. It was either today or maybe yesterday they did that. So I don't know where they are. And I'll tell you what, if the Cowboys start game one without CeeDee Lamb on the field, that's a problem. That is a massive issue for the other guy that wants to get the bag, and that's Dak Prescott. And I'll tell you what bothers me about Dak the most is that on one hand, he says, it's not about the money for me. I've never been interested in money. It's not about that. Well, 4 years ago, it was certainly about that with the money because we gave him a contract offer. He did not accept it. He wanted more. We gave him what he wanted. He has not delivered. He has not delivered any playoff success since we gave him what he asked for. And now he, in the same breath, is saying, it's not about the money. He also says, I've seen good quarterbacks go to other franchises and get paid and finish out their careers, and I'm open to doing that. He wants to reset the market. By the way, Stephen Jones and company have created an offer that he has in hand that he won't sign. Okay? This is the same situation as before. He says one thing, but in reality, he wants to reset the market. He won't be happy unless he gets that $60 million. Now, he may get that $60 million elsewhere, right? We've talked about that. To me, there's about 5 teams that'll pay him that. None of those teams are playoff contenders because I feel like every playoff team right now has their quarterback. So we go back to this with Dak. Is it about winning? Because if it was about winning, you might take $50 million, right? You've already got generational money. You're already generationally rich. You already get paid more in endorsements than you'll ever get by being from salary, by being a Dallas Cowboys quarterback. So the money's already there. When can it be about winning? When can it be about, hey, let's pay this guy. Let's pay that guy. I need these guys in my huddle. Let's get them paid, and then let's take care of me. $50 million, that's cool. I don't care. I want to win a Super Bowl. That's what I want to hear from my quarterback. But what I'm hearing is, I want $60 million. It's not good enough. So I'm going to next year. So you're willing to go play for the Raiders that will never win the AFC West with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert in that division? And you're willing to do that and leave the Dallas Cowboys and the prestige that comes with being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback because you want to reset the market? And you haven't done anything, in my mind, in postseason to warrant that sort of money. Tell me what you got on this, Brandon. I'm interested from a non-Cowboy fan. Where do you stand on this?
Oh. All right. You said a lot.
I did.
You said a whole lot.
Very passionate.
And I understand your frustration. Obviously, we are in times where money is everything and legacy is pushed to the side, right? When you look at Dak's legacy, okay, you're seeing a 2-5 playoff record, QBR of 67. You know, in this past 2 playoff games, he's literally 4 touchdowns to 4 picks.
Something
yeah. So if you're looking for legacy, man, I mean, you got to get more doves. But if you're looking for family security, I get it. The market is what it is, but he's got them by the gonads, man. Honestly, I think he does, because what other quarterback is going to replace him and go back-to-back 12-win seasons? He's a glorified regular season quarterback. It is very eerily similar to that career of old. I will get crucified for saying this, but my generation can understand it. This was the Peyton Manning stigma. A really good quarterback in the regular season.
Peyton Manning won.
Listen. I understand that, but here where I'm going with it. Peyton Manning has to lose.
You just compare Dak Prescott.
No, I'm not. I'm not comparing him. I'm telling you, just a glorified quarterback from statistics. Okay? He leads the league in touchdowns. He leads the league in passing yards. He's done it multiple times. Right? He's in the top 3 every single time. He gets you NFC East divisional wins. Right? They're the champs. Right. Then they go to the playoffs. He either loses in the wild card or he loses in the divisional round. If you go back to Peyton Manning's playoff career, he's only been in the AFC Championship game twice. Outside of that, wild card loss, divisional loss, wild card loss. Well, go back and look. I'm serious.
He played in 3 Super Bowls. How could he have only gone to?
Well, excuse me, 3. He's gotten to 3. My apologies.
Okay.
He's won 2 and lost 1.
Okay,
But I'm not comparing. Listen,
he was losing to Tom Brady.
I get it.
It's not the same.
I'm not
Dak
trying.
Prescott lost to Jordan.
Listen, I'm not trying to compare the talent. I'm trying to compare. He is a glorified regular season quarterback that has not got over the hump. Has Peyton Manning got over the hump in 20 years of his career? Yes, but you feel like he should have more, right? He's got a lot of wild card losses in 12 win regular seasons, right? Wins. So I'm just saying it's eerily similar.
Man, I get what you're saying. I understand the comparison, but he had to go through Ben Roethlisberger and Tom.
You act like Dak didn't have to go through Tom Brady.
What's that?
He went through Tom Brady. He beat Tom Brady.
It took him
right. I get it. You ran into Aaron Rodgers. He broke your heart.
Sure did.
You ran into him again. This in the version of Jordan Love. He broke your heart. Right? Look, Dak is a good quarterback. I'm tired of the stigma of like he's not good. He's actually very good. He's actually very good. But he's got quarterback. He's got Pro Bowls. He's got passing titles. He's going to reset the market.
A good quarterback doesn't reset the market, Brandon. A great quarterback resets the market. And we can't categorize Dak as great. We just can't.
So Kirk Cousins is...
But let me tell you this. He led the league in touchdowns this year. You know how many touchdowns he threw? 36. Don't tell me that's not a down year in the NFL. When the 36 touchdown leads the league. We're usually looking in the 40s and 50s when we had.
That ain't true. That ain't true. That ain't true. Most of those guys average 25, 36. But
no, even Romo.
Go back and look at the stats. I understand. 40? He ain't thrown no 40.
He's a good quarterback. He's not.
What are you playing? NCAA or Madden?
He's not an elite quarterback. That's my point, right? And let me tell you what elite quarterbacks do. Patrick Mahomes was asked, "Are you underpaid now with the market being reset time and time again since you've gotten your agreement?" I think we do a great job of managing my money, he said, or managing the money to be able to pay me a lot of money,
sure,
and keep a good team around me. I know we've kind of restructured it a couple of times and got the cash flow up in certain spots in certain areas. He, Patrick Mahomes, is willing to continue to restructure that agreement as Tom Brady used to do, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Tony Romo. They all had the huge contracts.
Hold on, don't throw Tony Romo in an elite quarterback category.
Putting him in that category because he got paid the $100 million at that time was very, very high, and he continued to restructure so that the rest of the team didn't get paid. That's my only concern.
Ben Roethlisberger restructured. This is restructured.
But Dak doesn't want to do that, man. And my problem is, listen, if Dak could take 50, 55 million, 54 million, awesome. I keep him because you're right. It's going to be hard to replace Dak. Although I'm going to tell you, Cooper Rush went 4-1 when Dak was hurt. He ran into a thriving Eagles team and lost that game. I don't think it takes a lot to win in the NFC East with the defense that we have and the offensive weapons that we have.
It does now.
Like it is.
It does now.
What do you mean it does now?
It does now. I'm predicting that is going to be a very competitive division.
Okay.
I'm predicting it.
You think so?
I am. I think it is. I think with the addition.
In years.
Well,
the Eagles had that one good season.
Well, here's the thing. They end up winning the Super Bowl too. So
by the way, Brock Purdy is 4-2 in the playoffs, while Dak is 2-5.
Hey, you brought up Brock Purdy, not me, fans. So
I bring it up because I said it earlier, right? If anybody deserves to set the market, but won't reset the market, it's Brock Purdy.
He's not going to do that.
I think San Francisco knows he's not.
He's not going to do that.
Dak was a 4th-round pick. If you ever watched him in college, he played exactly like Tim Tebow.
He did.
He was size.
But you act like Dak is the same Dak from college, bro.
But he's not from college. I'll give him that. He does throw the ball better now than he did when he first came out and when he was in college. But he doesn't run nearly as good as he did back then. And he doesn't even look to run anymore. And
well, he also snapped his ankle.
His game.
Look, right? I get it.
Dak, to get $60 million, man, you got to get better at the pre-snap reads. You got to get better at fixing protections. You got to get better at going 1, 2, 3 to 4 if you need to sometimes. You got to get more athletic. You got to play in the biggest moments. And we look back, we're not going to waste time doing it again. But
you don't think Dak does all that?
I think he
checks, pre-snaps.
but he's not nearly as good as some of the other guys that do it.
Some of the other guys that you wanted to mention, right? I know you want to mention this name. Go ahead and mention that name. So let me ask you this. Is you're considering Joe Burrow elite, yes, right?
Absolutely.
Why did he take the max deal?
I don't know. It was a mistake, and I didn't like it. I don't.
It's going to deplete the team.
I don't care who you are, right? Joe Burrow is amazing. I got in on him, too, for taking the max deal.
So check this out.
The max deal. Why, Jordan? You're a one-year starter. Don't you want a team around you for your whole career?
I get it.
Separate quarterback cap salary, which they're talking about doing. Until they do that, in my mind, quarterbacks should want to win. That should be your only motivation, right? You've already got the money, bro. How much did he get paid? $42 million a year for 4 years plus a signing bonus. You're telling me that's not generational wealth? And now you're looking to do it again?
That's not taking the mat. Okay, what was the guarantee?
It was, I couldn't tell you. I'll look it up, though, and we'll talk about it next time. But I'll tell you this much. If I'm a GM and I'm looking at the fact that at the end of this year, Dak Prescott's going into his 9th year, he's yet to win more than one playoff game in a row in a season. Okay. And he's had some major injuries that have really depleted some of his athletic ability. I don't want to give that guy the money that cripples the rest of my team.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but who is going to replace Dak Prescott? Who's going to take the production that he has, that body of work within going into year 9? Who is going to take his place?
And Brandon, I don't have the answer.
You guys aren't going to be sorry enough team to where you're drafting in the top 5.
Well, here's the good news.
He's got you.
We may be average enough this year where we are in that top 15. I mean, we've got some problems. We got some holes on our team. And if CeeDee Lamb doesn't get paid, I promise we'll be in that top 15. Maybe top 10.
He's going to get paid, but my thing is, even with CeeDee Lamb, this is like his first great year, isn't it? Like above and beyond.
No, he's been stellar since he stepped into the
stellar, like 100 plus catches.
I mean, he's been my favorite Cowboy since he's joined the team.
I mean, he's badass. Don't get me wrong. He deserves his money. Guys, to me, see guys like skill players, guys in the trenches. I mean, dude, get the max deal, man. Your body's always constantly beat up. Quarterbacks, yes, we're the only defenseless players that takes the hits, but we take up more of the cap too. And
you got more of the cap, and you get so much in endorsements when you play.
Yeah, like you're the face of the franchise. You young quarterbacks, I get it. It's all about the bag and being the highest paid for gloat, man. But dude, learn how to finesse that team, because there's a reason why Brady's got to where he's got. There's a reason why Pat has gotten where he's gotten, and he's taken that formula, right? And so you have to be or business savvy enough to have other endeavors going on just besides the max money. I mean, there's several guys like Ron Gronkowski and, Marshawn Lynch that literally saved their NFL salary, right, and lived off endorsements.
Yep.
And that's smart, right? I think Jordan Love taking a 4-year deal, I think that's actually pretty good, because if he goes hard for 2 years, he's got an opportunity to restructure. Who's not to say he's going to restructure to keep some of these young talents around, because that whole team is young. So they're not going to pay people for a while. So it's like, okay, I've been here forever. I've paid my dues. Let me get the money. After year 4, year 3, when we got Reed over here who's up for contract, or Luke who's up for contract, okay, I can structure some stuff out. I don't see anything wrong with him taking it, because they're so young.
If I'm Dak Prescott and I'm looking at what is going on with CeeDee right now, knowing that he is my number 1 receiver, knowing that he is the engine to this offense, I'm going into Jerry's office, and I'm putting.
What can I do?
I'm putting him at ease, and I'm saying, look.
What can I do? What can I do, Jerry?
I want my guy. Let's make it happen.
Right.
And this is my problem with Dak Prescott right now.
What can I do?
He's not done that. What can I do? So as we get into,
I think it's a lot to do with their agent too.
It could be, but you can't say money's not important to me, then get an offer, and then just sit on it. You know what I mean? Because we saw this episode 4 years ago. This is a repeat.
You just want to be competitive. You want to be competitive within the market. It's kind of similar to our job, man. You may say, money isn't everything, but when I hear people say that, I was like, if it ain't about the money, it's about the money. right?
If he,
They don't want to take such a drop off because they'll never get back. They'll never get back to that market rate if they already took this.
I'm not telling him that. I'm not saying he should take a huge drop off, but go into Jerry's office, have your agent call Jerry. What can I do in my contract to put you at ease to stay a Cowboy and sign CeeDee today? That's what I want from Dak Prescott.
Listen, $60 million is not going to be very.
Listen, I didn't play in the NFL. I don't know how it works from the business side. Maybe I'm a little naive, and but
what did he take? 45. He take 45. Didn't he take 45 for his deal? Wasn't it something like that? 45 or 50?
I thought it was 42.
Okay, 42. Okay, now the market's already up at what, 60? And that was what, 3?
No,
that was okay. So that was what, 3-4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
What's 60 mil a year in the next 3 to 4 years? Market's gonna go up, man.
How many times has Dak restructured since he signed the big contract?
Probably never.
I have not heard of a single time that he's restructured.
Well, here's the thing. They maybe do it behind the scenes, man, but hopefully he understands the team he has and the team he can build around. It's going to go with those big three, meaning Dak, Parsons, and Lamb. Yeah, and then you got some other young guys in there, man. I mean, you got to find a way if you want to be there because there's been a lot of rumors that old Bill Belichick, if Dayball blows it up, right? That old Bill Belichick is going to go finish where he started, and he's going to go bring Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
And they're going to give him the bag.
I'm fine with that.
I mean, look, man, Dak's a glorified regular season quarterback, man.
I heard Bill Belichick is headed to Dallas next year. I've also heard Bill Belichick connected with the Jets.
I don't think he's coming to Dallas, man. Jerry won't let him pick the groceries. He won't let him pick the groceries.
So as we get into this, man, it's exciting. There was a football game last week. There was actually some really good quarterback play in that first preseason game. But we come into 2024, Brandon. Let me ask you, give me your top 5 quarterbacks that have pressure coming into 2024 and why.
Damn. Top 5?
Give me top 5. We'll make it easy today.
I'm going to say Dak's got a lot of pressure on him. I mean, this is in no particular order. This is just off the dome, like thinking of a situation, okay, who has what? I think even though Tua has gotten the bag, I think Tua has got to win a playoff game. Has to.
Okay.
I think that's a lot of pressure because think about it. You have the number 1 top 100 player. You've been to the playoffs. This is your 3rd year in the McDaniels offense. And so here's an opportunity for you to take that next step. They did pay you a large contract. However, I guarantee there's something in there that could opt them if things don't go awry. I also think right now, man, a lot of pressure is on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has to stay healthy. It's 50%. He's literally 50% of his NFL career has been on the bench or been injured on IR. Right? He's a great talent. I think he is well beyond his years. I just hope he protects himself a little bit better. Maybe you restructure that deal because you did take the max. And if you take the max, your team gets depleted. And you got to pay Chase next year. And Chase is just sitting here looking. And you're going to have to pay Chase $35 million.
They've already lost a couple of DBs last year. They lost a receiver this year.
They lost Tyler Boyd.
In pieces because of
yes, absolutely. I also think another guy who has a ton of pressure on him right now, I'm going to say it's Justin Herbert.
Oh, yeah, I was going to go there too.
Justin Herbert, to me, is a guy that I hope we see his entire skill set.
Yeah.
And Bernard even mentioned this. With having Harbaugh and Greg Roman, if you remember that duo in San Francisco with Colin Kaepernick, not saying Justin Herbert is as fast as Colin Kaepernick, but if you don't think that dude can run, go back and watch highlights in Oregon. He can fly.
Yeah.
Right? He can fly. So maybe there's some +1. Maybe we see a whole different Justin Herbert experience. But bottom line is they got to get to the playoffs. They got to win an actual playoff game. Justin Herbert's been in the league too long, been rated as an elite quarterback, but has not won one playoff game. Hasn't pissed a drop. To me, you're a glorified fantasy quarterback, brother. You got to find a different way to get it done. We all know you're uber talented. And to me, the other guy who has a ton of pressure on him is Mr. Brock Purdy. And I say why? Because everyone is looking for a reason to say, I told you so.
Everybody
is
looking for a reason.
It's kind of messed up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the kid was the last pick in the draft. The kid literally is a perfect example of overcoming resiliency, hard work, and being prepared for your opportunity. That is the perfect example. And people hate on him, right? He's got some of the best film last year with all his anticipatory throws.
Agreed.
He can literally make every throw in the book. And who knew he had those kind of legs, right? Now he comes up a little bit bulked up. It's an opportunity. It's pretty much now or never. We got literally a 2-year window to close in on the Super Bowl because right now his projected contract is a total of $342 million. What?
Wow.
Yeah, he could take the max deal, but the kid is very humble, man. You know, he's getting his commercials going, so he's saving his money. But, you know, right now he's only made $2 million in the league. And coming from that, I think he's going to take a top 10 deal. But Brock Purdy has got to get back to the dance. He has got to. It is Super Bowl or bust. And he knows that.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay.
That's a pretty solid top 5, man.
Yeah. No. There's a lot of quarterbacks that have pressure on him this year, but we can't get to all of them. I'm going to say Dak as well with you. I mean, if he is not going to do what we talked about, and he is going to go ahead and play the year out and go to try to be the reset the market guy.
Yep.
And he's going to have to play great for somebody to give him that money in free agency, right? I've got Josh Allen with a lot of pressure on him, losing Stephon Diggs.
Oh yeah.
It's losing a home playoff game last year. I think there's a lot of pressure on him to step up, stop turning the ball over, because he's a guy that, much like Justin Herbert, has those elite traits. He's been deep in the playoffs, but he needs to get back there and he needs to prove he can win without Stephon Diggs, right? He needs to prove that. I've got Jordan Love. A lot of pressure on him.
Already?
Well,
there's no pressure.
He just reset the market.
It's 4 years.
One playoff win. I think he's going to have to go out there and live up, much like what you said with Tua. He's going to have to live up to that. Remember, they were 9-8 last year. He got they beat Dak.
Hold on. It's not the same as Tua, because he actually went into hostile territory and blew the doors off a good team. Blew the doors off, and he almost whipped us. Hey, kudos to him. Tua has not. No. Tua looks like a completely different person in the winter.
Well, I still say he's got a lot of pressure on him because
I get it. He's the Packers quarterback.
You got to win your division. You got all that money. I
don't think they're getting past the Lions, brother.
I don't think so either.
No.
The other guy that's got pressure on him, I believe, is Justin Herbert. Now he's got Jim Harbaugh there. He's hurt right now. He's battling through some injury. They're hopeful that he's ready for week 1.
He's got a heel problem, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's not good. But hey, he's a guy with elite traits. He's fast. He can run. He's got some wiggle.
Run.
He's got one of the most beautiful throwing motions that I've seen, in a very long time. If he was back in the 80s with the Dan Marinos and Joe Montanas, he'd have been ripping somebody up the way.
Better than Geno Smith's motion?
Yes, I think so. I love his motion. It's so pure to me. He's just
Geno's got a whip.
Quarterback.
I get it. He looks like a cyborg at quarterback.
The guy that has the most pressure on him. It's got to be Caleb Williams. It's got to be Caleb Williams.
No.
I'm going to tell you why. Because that team is stacked.
Don't matter.
That team is stacked. If they don't win games and he can't get that team, that roster to the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Generational talent as being the best quarterback we've seen since Patrick Mahomes. The media has put so much pressure on this kid before he even stepped into training camp. But that roster, the Bears have actually never in history of the NFL has a number 1 quarterback, the number 1 pick, had a team like this surrounding him. Never. I've never seen it. I've never seen a team this ready to win get the number 1 pick.
Right.
Never. So to me, I think Caleb, man, you got to perform. The Bears and Bears fan, me being a Bears fan as well, we've been waiting for this. We've never had a quarterback outside of Jim McMahon or Vince Evans that really just lit the world on fire. So this might be.
All right. Now, I know you haven't seen episode 1 of the Bears Hard Knocks, but I will say after seeing episode 1, I feel he's going to be all right.
You do.
I really do. I really do. And I say this because he shows humility, that he wants to work. He wants to learn. He's not afraid to go up to the go up to the team and completely embarrass himself. Right? He doesn't look like he's a guy that, oh, it's just me and everyone else. Like, he gets along with the quarterback room. That's a real good room. You'll watch that this week and know, okay, we got a little bit something here, but that kid's talented. He's very talented. But I just hope he just grasps the understanding of throwing in rhythm. Because to me, that was the biggest, like, but also his greatest strength, but his worst weakness. Right?
It worries me that my biggest concern with Caleb is that don't do too much, Caleb. You don't have to. Right?
That's what he'll do that.
Trust in your offensive line, trust in your run game. You got DeAndre Swift to take some of that pressure off now.
You got a team,
your
dude.
Running back. Your receiver core is A+. You've got a good tight end in Kmet. You don't have to do too much, right? You don't have to be the generational talent people have said you are. You just have to be good, drive the bus, don't crash it off the highway.
Yeah, don't crash that bitch. Change the oil a little bit sometimes. Change the oil with your legs. Yeah. Use your legs when we need to, right?
Hey,
you know, I think he's going to be good, Tim. I think he's going to be good, man.
I believe you when you say I'm going to like that quarterback room, because I tell you what, there was some good quarterback play from the Bears backup quarterbacks last week, particularly Ripken.
You're going to like him.
He was ripping it up last week.
He's dialed. And
how about
wasn't he a Green Bay quarterback? Wasn't he a Green Bay quarterback?
No, he's been on 6 NFL teams.
Yeah, but he was I think he started out with Green Bay. I remember him.
He looked smooh the other day, man.
He's very smooth.
He's a third string, so there's a battle for that number 2 spot right now. I thought he looked great. I
think it's gonna be him.
I think
you can just see how dialed he is. Like, he's dialed in. Like, every practice, going through different reps. Obviously, Caleb's taking literally 95% of the reps, but he's going through it with his progressions, kind of like this Drew Brees style that he's going through. I liked it. I thought it was a good first episode. I think you're going to be impressed with Caleb, but Caleb's just got to not, like you said, not do too much. I think that's the biggest thing in the NFL, man. You can't be late. You got to be on time. You never go broke taking a profit. Don't forget about the fat chicken to flats. That's right. Mean, you got to take underneath stuff, man. In the NFL, they're too damn quick. So,
Brandon, I agree with everything you just said. Now, there's one other guy that neither one of us mentioned, and I'm going to mention him before we move on to this Lamar Jackson conversation. But, man, what about Russell Wilson? He's only getting $1 million. He's certainly expendable. You got uber athletic, very young, very likable Justin Fields backing him up, who they say has been pretty dynamic athletically in practice. I would say Russell Wilson has a lot of pressure to stay in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of pressure on both of them, to be honest, because, you're with a player's coach. That really helps, right, to give you back to what you've done best. And I think both of these thrive when they both can be themselves. And that's stuck in a box, right? I felt like Russell was stuck in a box last year. We're taking away that statistically, man, if you look at the numbers, Russ was up there. And it's just a bad coach relationship. I think Justin Fields was, I don't know what to make of him, to be honest. I mean, he showed some flash and he showed some struggle. But I think right now, having a player coach that's around you, I mean, if you look at the Chicago Bears coach, you think he's a player coach. Kind of looking at him, and you'll notice his personality. You're like, damn, how did they not work out? How did they not mesh? And so maybe it's Justin Fields' like demeanor, because the head coach is a kind of a giddy guy, right? He's got a good personality, man. And this guy's kind of very quiet. Yeah. Justin Fields.
Yeah, I hear he's emotional. I hear one day he's up, one day he's down.
He always looks depressed to me.
He's very new generation.
He's very quiet, very introverted guy. I know he's uber athletic. Rumors are he is turning heads at Steelers camp. And so, the pressure is on, but I feel like right now with Russ having veteran leadership, if he can get that calf in check, I think they're going to let him get the first run, at least the first quarter of the season. They'll probably plug in some things. especially with the offensive coordinator's mindset, what he likes to do, being a very run-dominant guy. Russell did thrive when he was run first, right, and not let Russ cook. He thrived under that as well. So both quarterbacks got a lot to prove. But just take care of business and support one another, man, because it's never a fun situation to be in it. And both the Steelers got them for a light person, some
Nothing.
Skittles,
Right.
Nothing, right?
So,
And so no harm, no foul, but they haven't been in this position since Ben Roethlisberger, two veteran quarterbacks, right, can drive the offense. We'll see what happens, man, but good luck to both.
Last chance.
I have really nothing bad to say. No, I think for Russell, yeah, it might be. It might be the last ride until he's a backup. Now, is Russ's ego going to allow him to be a backup? I'm not sure. Is Justin Fields' ego going to allow him to be a backup? I'm not sure.
Well, Justin Fields shouldn't have much of an ego. I do believe that Chicago did him dirty. I also believe that he brought some of that onto himself.
Sure.
So it was just a bad match all the way around. I don't know. I think if he gets an opportunity and shows us what he showed us in Chicago, I think this might be his last shot to get significant playing time in the NFL. And at that point, he may, there can't be any ego with a guy that's never broken through, right? So I'd like for him to have success in Pittsburgh, but we'll see what happens. I do think if they end up 4-4, I think, there's a change made. I don't think Mike Tomlin, who doesn't have losing seasons, is going to make sure that team does what it takes to win.
They'll be in the playoffs.
They'll change quarterbacks. And they're in a tough division, right? Cincinnati, Cleveland, Baltimore. My God, it's probably toughest division in all of football. So who knows what's going to happen there? But now let's go on. We talked about the NFC North. The AFC North. Let's stay there. John Harbaugh claimed that when it was all said and done, Lamar Jackson will go down as the best quarterback in NFL history. We're talking better than Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Dan Marino, Jared Goff, Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield. I mean, we're talking a list of quarterbacks, and I'm just going down a list of quarterbacks on a sheet of paper right here, right? But most notably, the guy that I'm wearing right now, Patrick Mahomes. You're telling me that Lamar Jackson will go down in history as the best quarterback ever. Now, I'm 100% against that comment, but I know that you are pro that comment. So prove to me, make me believe, why is Lamar Jackson going to go down as the best quarterback of all time?
How many years has Lamar played in the league? Been in the league?
I don't know.
How many 10-plus win seasons has he had? That dude wins 80% of his games, bro. He wins 80% of his games. He's unlike anything we have ever seen.
Not true. We've seen
no, we have not. No, we have not. Please do not bring up Michael Vick, because Michael Vick was Michael Vick was a career 50% guy. We have never seen a quarterback with this talented, from not only a physical standing, but also his ability to take care of the ball. He takes care of the ball. He takes care of the ball extremely well.
He hasn't played on really good football teams.
He's played on decent Raven teams.
Michael.
So we're gonna say that Eagles team was washed.
No, Michael Vick was amazing when he went to Philly.
But here's where I go.
Michael
with this.
was what Jackson wants to be when he got to Philly. Come on, man.
Oh, no.
Vick and Randall Cunningham both did this first.
No.
They did it
they have never done. No. And Lamar hasn't. Lamar has got two MVPs in 6 years, Tim.
Dude, please don't bring up MVPs.
It doesn't matter. Peyton Manning had a lot of MVPs, too.
He just won an MVP. And
Brett Favre did. Steve Young did.
Listen,
Brady did.
15th in passing. And only won one playoff game this
Tim,
year.
you have
with the MVP.
You have goggles on right now, and I tell you why you have goggles, because that is not the way that offenses is. Look, you have a preference. It's obvious you have a preference when it comes to quarterbacks. I'm about to explain it to you. You like a guy who can drop back, deliver the mail, be on time, check at the line of scrimmage, Use your feet when needed. I will tell you this right now. Lamar Jackson does that. However, he has got an amazing skill set that you cannot deny. When you look at it from a defensive perspective, you are an offensive coordinator, so obviously you want to score, right? How do you defend him? How do you defend that? Especially if you don't see him twice a year. If you don't see him twice a year, how do you defend him?
Well, I'm going to tell you how we defend him. First of all, let me go back to your comment, preference. Yes, I do appreciate those sorts of quarterbacks. Brock Purdy, Dan Marino's. I won't say his name because every time I do, you
Tony Romo, say it. Tony, say it. Say how you feel. You love the
Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Peyton Manning. But that being said, man, I have a vintage Randall Cunningham jersey in my closet.
Sure.
As a Cowboy fan, I would tune in on Monday Night Football, Cowboys versus Eagles, not to watch my Cowboys play, but to watch Randall Cunningham play.
Listen.
I loved Randall Cunningham. Michael Vick, I have like 3 Michael Vick jerseys in my closet. Okay? So it's not that I don't enjoy or can't appreciate. By the way, I don't dislike Lamar Jackson. I don't subscribe to him being this upper echelon quarterback. He's an upper echelon athlete, and you are correct. He may go down as the most athletically gifted quarterback we've ever seen because of the way that he can run the ball. And he does take care of the ball. And he does throw the ball better than he did when he first came out, no question. But for me, he's 6 years in. He's got 2 playoff wins. He's had really good teams around him. He had a top 5 defense last year. He had a top 5 running game last year, not including his rushing yards. But most of the highlights that we see from him is using his legs.
Let me ask you this.
He was 15th in passing last year.
Let me ask you this.
And won 1 playoff game. So
let me ask you this.
Best ever? I mean, the best ever quarterback is going to be Tom Brady from now until Patrick Mahomes takes that by winning more Super Bowls than he did.
Listen, the fact that the kid has over 60+% in completion career, he's got 125 touchdowns passing to 45 interceptions. That's an amazing ratio. Okay, he's a great player.
It's a lot to say the best of all time.
But it's hard
to say the best of all time.
I understand where Hallbar's coming from because, yes, when you're a defensive guy, you ask anybody, okay, would you rather go against Pat Mahomes or Lamar Jackson?
Okay.
I bet you they say Pat Mahomes.
Really?
Because you know why? He just so does Lamar. Lamar wins 80% regular games. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, you know what? You know who else we talk about who wins a lot but doesn't win in the playoffs is Dak Prescott.
Well, Dak Prescott, okay, that's fine. But if we're going back to it, Dak Prescott doesn't have 2 MVPs. Dak Prescott has had multiple coaches, gotten fired, coaches fired.
The MVP is bullshit. Come on.
It's not bullshit. It's showing that he is literally the most valuable player on his team. You take Lamar Jackson out of it, they are nothing.
If you take Mahomes off the Chiefs, they're nothing. If you take Brock Purdy off the 49ers, they don't have a quarterback that can win on that team.
What do you mean? We just took Jimmy G just went to the Super Bowl with them. What are you talking about?
Jared Goff off the Lions, they wouldn't win any games. If you took out of Buffalo, they might win 5 games.
We can't even talk about Buffalo because Buffalo doesn't make it past the divisional round. We're talking about a guy. Listen, we're talking about a guy who has a unique skill set. If you were a defensive coordinator, it is hell on wheels to stop him. Look at our team. When we played Lamar Jackson, hadn't played him in a while. The defense has never seen him. Defense was a top 3 defense until they ran into him. He's a cyborg, bro. He's unreal. He's one of one. And maybe I got the purple because I'm repping Lamar right now, but Lamar Jackson could go down in history as the number 1 player we have ever seen at that position.
Okay,
it's true.
That I can
hold on. If he wins from a talent standpoint, we're talking about a talent standpoint. We're not talking about championships.
He's most talented. Okay.
Who's better than him? Who is?
Are we enamored with his athletic ability?
We are.
Because
athletic ability, arm strength, ability to escape, ability to protect the ball, great leadership, can run +1, and is effective just as much as a running back. And he's effective as a quarterback. He's had 4 great most accurate, what is it? 4 passer ratings, perfect passer rating games.
Okay.
He's had 4 of them. Patrick Mahomes ain't even had that.
Okay.
Brock Purdy's had it, but I'm not putting Brock Purdy in that category. He is one of one, Tim. As a defensive coordinator, he will give you fits because you can't stop him.
Just like him. I've seen two other players that
No,
like
there's not.
one of those players was a better passer than him. Michael Vick in Philadelphia. Michael Vick in Philadelphia.
No, that's not true. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
I saw it with my eyes, man.
No.
Come on, bro.
So your man has four perfect passer rating games, and Vic only had the biggest game he's ever had statistically when it comes to passing was that Washington Monday night game. I think we've all could attest to that. Vic has never had a game like Lamar's. No. Like Lamar literally throws for 6 touchdowns or 5 touchdowns and this and that, and he still gets criticized. Like, what do you want the man to do? It's the offense.
Lamar. I'm not criticizing Lamar. Is he one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL? 100%.
He's one.
I just can't go that far as to say because he's really athletic. And the one of one I can't agree with because I've seen two other guys play just like him.
But they don't complete near the same amount of percentage completion as them.
It was
shit. And Lamar still plays the Big 12 personnel. He still condenses the box and still makes accurate throws.
How do you beat Lamar Jackson?
How do you beat Lamar Jackson as a defensive coordinator? How do you stop him?
I'm going to show you. The Chiefs proved it. They set the landmark last year. This is how you play because what the Ravens don't have is top-tier wide receivers.
Okay.
That's right. They have a great run game, great offensive line, superior defense, but they don't have great receivers. The way you beat Lamar
that's not true.
Is exactly what the Chiefs did. You man up on the outside, you zone your linebackers in the middle, and you play contain on the defensive line. You don't go for sacks. You go to keep him in the. If you keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket,
he'll torch you.
That's how you contain Lamar Jackson.
He'll torch you.
He's best outside of the pocket.
He'll torch. No, he's not. He's actually top percentage. Listen, Tim. He's actually. I'm glad you said that because he literally leads. He literally leads the league in completion inside the pocket.
Okay. Did you not see him against the Chiefs?
I understand that. That's one game, Tim. That's one game, Tim. Have we seen Pat Mahomes shit the bed against Oakland? Yeah, we have.
Okay, but Patrick
Mahomes you can't
always playing for a Super Bowl.
He is. Credit to his coach. Credit to his system.
He's a gamer. Look, guys, don't crucify me. I think Lamar Jackson's incredible. But to say he's the best we've ever seen, I have a hard time. Tim, I've never in my life seen nobody like him. Guys, but come on, man.
Listen, I've never in my life seen nobody like him. Never.
No, I have.
Never. Listen, but it doesn't matter if you're older than me. Your pastime was all 5-step and 7-step drops. This is the era. Randall Cunningham couldn't even throw the damn ball. He couldn't complete more than 50% of his passes.
If it's not for Randall Cunningham, Lamar Jackson may not exist.
May not. But here's the thing. Michael Vick, listen, a left-handed quarterback, dual threat guy, grew up idolizing Michael Vick. Idolizing.
And throw better.
Oh,
no?
No, Steven.
No, you wouldn't over Lamar? Because I won't.
Hell no. Okay. Not with that wiggle. No. I love Steve. Look, Steve's on the wall. But I'm telling you right now, man, Lamar Jackson is arguably the most talented quarterback I have ever seen.
Okay.
Ever. And I'm not just trying to be biased, man.
Quarterback in NFL history.
He has the option. He has the opportunity to do it. Tim, he's only 6 years in the league.
6 years, so he's got.
And he's already got 2 MVPs.
Say he's got 10 more years left. Let's just be generous that he doesn't get hurt. God forbid he doesn't get hurt.
So he walks away with 6 MVPs?
I don't care about MVPs. That's a media award given to the quarterback whose team is winning the most in a given season. Again, he was 15th in passing. Okay?
His offense is.
Josh Allen is more important to the Bills than Lamar Jackson is to the Ravens.
Dude, he still threw for over 3,000 yards. He threw for 3,600 yards. He still had 102 rating, but he also gets it on the ground, Tim, so you got to understand his skill set. But you should care because it's all about moving the ball and sustaining drives. He suffocates you. It's a preference you have.
That Josh Allen runs as well as Lamar Jackson, and he was
that's the craziest ass take I just heard in my life.
Okay,
that Josh Allen runs the exact same as Lamar Jackson.
I didn't say he runs the same. He's as effective on the ground as Lamar is.
I didn't
say it's the same. It doesn't
look
the same.
I don't think so.
It's not as pretty, but they're both. I mean, he is equally effective on the ground as Lamar Jackson.
I don't think he is. He turns the ball over too damn much. He fumbles the ball. He's irrational with things. Like, look, man. At the end of the day, when you average over 5.5 yards a carry, Every time
Josh,
bro.
I'm going to give you something right now.
You should give me something, but he also has 5 touchdowns. He had 48 first downs, Tim.
Again, stop yelling at me. I'm not against Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, you are. You just got a preference, bro. I love you, but you got a preference.
I don't have a.
We're not putting. Listen. We're not. He is not saying that he's going to have all this body of work and all these championships. He is specifically saying he is arguably the most talented He will go down as the most talented quarterback that has ever played in the NFL. It is no question. Right now, it is no question. Show me a player as big as Lamar, as fast as Lamar, as shiftier as Lamar, as accurate as Lamar, as a good arm as far as his throwing power. Show me. Do not show me Vic.
I'm going to show you.
And I love Michael Vick.
Outside of the shiftiness, because he's a big lumbering white dude, and big lumbering white guys aren't very shifty. But Josh Allen has everything that you just asked about. Everything.
Bro, no.
Everything. And I can't find it. But for the next show, folks, we're gonna go head to head. Josh Allen's rushing numbers versus Lamar over the past week. I'm telling you, Josh Allen is just effective on the ground.
No, he's not.
So it's hard for me to go best ever. And you've got some guys coming in the league, that are incredibly athletic.
Tim, right? the story is still not done.
Patrick Mahomes, to me, is the only quarterback playing today that is vying for the best quarterback of all time.
All right.
To me, in my opinion. That doesn't mean that Lamar Jackson isn't a great player. That doesn't mean that he isn't
we're not saying that.
Player in his own right. I just can't go best of all time. That's a reach to me because you just said, name me a quarterback that does all these things, and literally I named Josh Allen right off the bat.
So he's more slipperier than Lamar?
That he's what?
He's more slipperier than Lamar?
I didn't know. He's not.
He's more faster than Lamar?
But he's just as effective.
Okay, check this out. So as we go down the line, Lamar averaged over 5.5 a carry. You know what Josh Allen averaged? 4.
Oh, my God, 1.5 yards different.
Oh, but it's 1.5 yards difference. You know how many first downs he had versus Lamar? 23 to 48. Get out of here.
Yeah, Lamar runs more than Josh.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He doesn't?
No.
Okay.
Come on now.
Josh is a pass-first quarterback. He's going to throw.
If he's he's a pass-first quarterback that damn near led the league back-to-back years in interceptions.
I agree with you.
Congratulations.
I agree with that. He throws too many interceptions, just like
Brett
Favre did. But Brett Favre's in the Hall of Fame. So.
Oh, wait. And Lamar's not going to be in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely. And guess what? Josh Allen has that same opportunity. Look at what he's done. Come on, man.
Josh got to say, look, we're not trying to bash the other white versus black, this and that. I'm just stating facts.
Well, there's nobody a preference because
you do have a preference, though.
The majority of
I have a preference.
Listen, the majority of the preference. When they hear preference, they think Tim doesn't like the black quarterback, and that's not true.
That ain't true.
That's
not true.
Stop with that mess. All right.
We ended that. But what I'm saying, Tim, is you have a preference when it comes to quarterbacks, just like I have a preference for quarterbacks. I don't like huge, tall guys that just sit in the pocket and have quicksand in their feet. I like a guy who's nimble and can move. That's me. I like Burrow. Burrow's a big dude. Herbert's a big dude. But then again, man, you give me Lamar Jackson, like, oh my Lord.
Listen, I'm becoming more open.
He's unstoppable. He's unstoppable.
Since I worked with you, you were the first real mobile quarterback I had the chance to work with. So from that time on, I started to be more open to guys that can use their feet and run around. I never thought that was the job of the quarterback, but it's it's nice to have in your toolbox, right? I have that.
I will say this.
You have that. So it makes me more open. So yeah, I like Lamar. I like watching Lamar. I like Josh Allen. I like watching Josh Allen.
So
I have a hard time with Lamar Jackson playing in the same era as a Tom Brady, as a Patrick Mahomes, to say he's going to go down as the best ever. Because those are two guys, in my opinion, that unequivocally are the best two quarterbacks that we've ever seen from a winning standpoint.
The body of work, I understand what that means, but as far as talent, it is
just sheer talent.
It's no question. But this isn't an argument.
Wait a minute.
It's no question.
Josh Allen isn't bigger, stronger, has a stronger arm, throws better, runs just as well. I mean, he runs differently. He'll run over you rather than around you.
I don't think he throws better, but okay. Like I don't know what you're not. I don't really think you watch Raven games, and you have attested that you don't watch Raven games.
Oh, no.
You said you hate them. You said you hated it. You hated it. You hated it. And I claimed Lamar Jackson would be the MVP of the league. And what did he do, Tim? He did it.
Easy.
But that was before the season even started.
Yeah, I know, because you're a Lamar fan, and that's
Lamar. Listen. I just know. Look, hey, speaking of that, Lamar Jackson right there. Now, I just know if I was a defensive coordinator and I would have to look at my base defense, okay, we're 4-3. Okay, that's nice. Man, we need speed on the field. We can't have slow linebackers.
No.
We need to engage the run. Watch how the 49ers played against him. It was like watching a college quarterback play a junior high team.
I'd rather
that's what it looked like.
The Chiefs played him because the Chiefs completely stifled him.
That's how you have to play him and Mahomes, right? If you allow guys like Lamar, guys like Josh Allen, guys like Mahomes, if you allow to feed into their game and what they do best, they'll kill you.
Now here's the difference with Mahomes. I think the best way to beat Mahomes, and I think Tampa showed this a couple years ago in the Super Bowl.
Not lose contain.
Don't lose contain, but it's not man defense because they have better skill players, in my opinion, than Baltimore does. Cover 2 really messes with the Chiefs offense. And that really disciplined Tampa 2 that Tampa played in the Super Bowl really gave Mahomes and company fits. And namely because your tight end is double teamed in the middle of the field at that point. And so to me, that cover 2 really stifles the Chiefs. Why teams
you got to play that zone underneath. I think Mahomes right now, man, what he is learning to take what the defense gives him. It makes him even more dangerous. Does Lamar need to improve on that? Absolutely. When we saw the first half of the Texans game, me and my quarterbacks were watching the film, man, there's a lot of opportunities for him to have that relationship with his receivers. That's so important to develop. And it's like, guys, if I see an overhang sitting here and they're about to blitz, I need to look off. I need to run right into him, right? Throw the ball, replace the blitz. There's oftentimes he tends to rely more on his legs, which I get, but over time, you'll slow down a little bit and you'll have to pick it from the neck up, which he has. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's not reckless with the ball. He protects the ball very good, especially when he runs. He's hard to stop, Tim. He's honestly the hardest person to stop in the NFL because if you've only seen him once, he's going to kill you. He's literally undefeated. He's undefeated. What is he's 18-1 against the NFC? Come on, man.
I think he had a lot to do with stopping himself against the Chiefs because, to your point, he was looking downfield for the big play quite a bit, and then he was trying to use his legs, but the Chiefs weren't going to allow for that to happen.
Right.
And it took him longer than it needed to for him to settle in and to get comfortable and do make the routine plays look easy. And I felt like, part of that was him trying to prove that he is a quarterback, that he can go head to head with Mahomes and he didn't have to do that, right? Just stay within yourself, play your game, do what the Ravens do. And I felt like the Ravens as a whole got out of what they do in that game.
I agree. You got to run the ball more. You led the league in rushing and attempts. Yeah, it's unfortunate. And it just has to go to say, was this thing rigged? Was this forced? Because I believe it. I'm not going to lie. I'm on the podcast right now. I will say it right now. I am not putting too much stock into this ever again after what I saw in the Super Bowl.
Well, I can tell you that I'm going to have a hard time buying into the Cowboys again after what I saw.
Yeah, we both got heartbroken. But anyways, we're going to move on to that top 100 because it seems like a very easy conversation compared to this last one we just had. But
now,
overall, good conversation.
16 quarterbacks. I'm going to go down the list. There were 16 quarterbacks in the top 100. Some of these quarterbacks didn't even really play last year. From what I understand, this list is given out to the guys in a ballot format, in mid-season, right, to the players. And so they're picking these players. But here's the list. Lamar Jackson. And I'm going to go in order, right? I'm not going to give you the number, but in order. Lamar Jackson, then Patrick Mahomes, then Josh Allen, then Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, C.J. Stroud, Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Tua, Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers, who only played 3 snaps, and Trevor Lawrence makes the list at 94. So, Brandon, let me leave it to you first. Is there anybody that you can think of in the league that got snubbed that did not get put on this list that maybe should have? Because I can think of one that is
with the NFL top 100, you got to understand this is based on the year, right? Right. The best year.
Let's look at last year, not whole body of work, just last year.
Correct. We're looking at last year's season.
Last year, correct.
Trevor Lawrence needs to sit his ass down. Next, I felt like who got snubbed to me was Joe Flacco. That's me. And the only reason why I say that is because he led a good Cleveland Browns team when all the quarterbacks were down. He jumped up off the couch, got some wins. Now, did he lose in the wild card? Yeah, they got blown out. But the fact is he held the glue together. You know, Aaron Rodgers didn't play. He played a couple snaps. Kirk Cousins was having a phenomenal MVP-type season until he blew out his Achilles. But, man, just to kind of think and just – I feel like a lot are on this list, to be honest. I mean, Jared Goff definitely earned it. I feel like Jared Goff needs to be higher on this list, especially past Burrow. Burrow didn't play a lot of the year. I feel like Brock Purdy should actually be number 3, if that's how we're going to call it, because based on statistically that season, that kid went all the way to the Super Bowl when everybody didn't believe, and he was up for the MVP for quite some time. Josh Allen, you know, I think he's right in the sweet spot. I think Jalen Hurts needs to be moved down a little bit. They gave him the 4 spot. Dak Prescott's where he needs to be. I think Jordan Love. I think they got the list, honestly, pretty good outside of Trevor Lawrence. I just would not have I wouldn't even have touched him. I wouldn't even have touched Justin Herbert. I would have left them off the list. They're great players, but at the end of the day, you were judged by how you are in close games when things are, you know, tight. I personally think that Patrick Mahomes should have took the number 1 spot. After all, he did lead a team that wasn't thought of very well to the Super Bowl and won back-to-back championships. And I honestly think they're going to win it again. So I don't know if I could just leave. I mean, take Trevor off, and that's about it. Aaron Rodgers and Burrow just got their credit just because, you know, of who they are, but they can also be removed too, just because they haven't played a full season.
I think this whole list is a mess. I think this list as a whole is a mess. I think this was a popularity contest because
you got to think these are the players.
I know. Now this is us talking. This is our opinions. How in the world does a Baker Mayfield get left off this list?
Yeah, shake and bake. He should have been at 94.
He was no. He was 9th in passing. He won a playoff game. He threw 28 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, and he took the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that were picked to finish almost dead last in their division to a playoff game and won a playoff game. There's no way that Jalen Hurts, who did not win a playoff game, who did not play well, who halfway through the year, his passing stats were very, very low. He brought that up a little bit later, but he's 14th in the league in passing. 23 touchdowns to 15 interceptions and didn't even go to the playoffs. So, no, Jalen Hurts is off the list.
Nah, he can't be off the list after going from top 10 to off the list now. Now, he's sitting at 15. He should have dropped to like at least 40.
Remember, we're going off last year. You didn't do it last year, man. You're out of there because I gotta put Baker Mayfield on the list.
But weren't they 10-0 before the flop?
They were doing great, and then they
so stop. That first half, that first 75% of the season, he dominated.
You can take over for Trevor Lawrence at number 9.
He honestly should take Burrow's spot at 39. I don't think Burrow and Rodgers or Trevor should have been on the list. I think Baker should have been. I think Baker deserved it.
Aaron doesn't deserve to be on the list. He took 3 snaps.
He's gonna ball this year too. And I just picked him up. Ooh.
I love Joe Burrow, but your best ability is your availability, and he wasn't. So I got
50%. He has a 50% career, my man, right now.
I can't have him on the list. This is my top 5: Patrick Mahomes, Brock Purdy. Those two played in the Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Those are my two. Listen.
Over Lamar?
If I'm going just off last year, I'm going with the 2 quarterbacks that played in the Super Bowl.
He won the MVP.
Then I'm going to go Lamar Jackson because he won a playoff game. Then I'm going to go Josh Allen because he lost the playoff game. And then I'm going to go Jordan Love. Matthew Stafford is, you know what? I can't put Matthew above Dak, but I'm certainly going to put Jordan Love above Dak. And I'm certainly going to put Baker above Dak last year because at the end of the day, it's about playoff wins. And what did you do with less? Baker did more with less. Baker went to the playoffs. Baker won a playoff game.
Hold on. More with less.
Off this.
More with less. You realize that Baker had a few.
They don't have the roster that the Cowboys have.
Brother, they literally have a better receiving core than the Cowboys. What are you talking about? They have a future Hall of Fame receiver. They have a future Hall of Fame receiver in Mike Evans, who had literally his 10 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. He had a healthy Chris Godwin. I mean, they were good, man. They battled. They battled. Were they like the Super Bowl team?
Does he deserve to be on the list? I mean,
I think so. I think so over Trevor Lawrence. But you got to think the more I go down the list here, I look at these teams. Did they have hot starts? Lamar had a hot start. Patrick not so much, but he battled back. Josh had a decent start. They kind of crumbled in the mid. Dak, they still competed until they ran into San Francisco. Jalen went 10-0. C.J. Stroud had a phenomenal season. Brock Purdy, we know what he did. Jordan Love had a absolute disaster, shit the bed for the first half of the season, and then just magically, this dude is a reincarnated Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers now all of a sudden, which was pretty cool to see because, damn, I'm jealous of you Packer fans. You fuckers have 3 quarterbacks in the last 40 years. That's mind-blowing to me. Well, 30 years. Crazy to even think that way. That's insane.
I can't look at this list and not put...
Is it 40 years? No, it can't be 40. It's like 35, 30-something.
Listen,
so we're, 1992?
And not put Jared Goff...
32 years, bro. That's insane.
And Brock Purdy all above Dak Prescott because they all went further in the playoffs.
I mean, I understand that, but Dak, to his credit, had regular season. This is based on statistics, right? Dak was the number one passer in touchdowns and yards. But I'm just telling you right now, give Dak his flowers. He earned it. He's got Cowboys by the balls. You're going to have to pay him. Sucks for you. But
we ain't paying him.
I mean, I think right now Tua needed to be a little lower. I think Stafford is...
Tua was number one in passing last year. Why does it need to be lower?
Ridiculously. I mean, you also had the number one player. You had the number one player, too. Number one player.
That's true, but...
Dude literally took up half your yards. When you're throwing to the Roadrunner, I mean, it's like throwing to that guy in NCAA right now from South Carolina. You just throw the ball up and he just goes and gets it.
Player in the NFL.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my God. I accept it wholeheartedly because you know why? Tyreek Hill was a freaking running back and kick returner, turned receiver, and blew the doors off of it. There's not a weakness in his game, right? He's available. He plays hurt. He's become a better teammate.
He doesn't like the cold very much.
I don't think anybody likes negative 32 degrees. I don't think anybody does. You know how hard it would be even breathe in that? Do you know like 4 or 5 people died at that game? No. Well, after the game, right? That cold.
He's great. Was he the best player in the league last year? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, who am I to argue? But yeah, Joe Flacco, you mentioned him. He needs to be on the list because of what he did.
Flacco came in and did his thing, man. It was fun to see. I think Geno Smith was a good player. If we're going to put Trevor Lawrence on here, put Geno on here. Geno had 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. We talked about it a lot last year. So kudos to the guys who made the list. I love that my quarterback made the list, Brock Purdy. You guys have given me so much shit as fans about Brock Purdy, and I'm glad he just got to stick it to you because he is a stud and he belongs, and he's going to be here for a long time. So
they just don't want to see him succeed, man.
They don't want to see him shine, man. Now, let me ask you this. If he was drafted top 5, he'd be number 3 quarterback. He'd be in the top 10 right now. Would you agree?
You talked about it. I agree. But you talked about preference. He doesn't fit a lot of people's preference because he's not uber athletic. He doesn't make the exciting flash plays. I said uber athletic. He's not Lamar Jackson like athletic.
Well, I understand that, but he makes a lot of flash plays, bro.
He makes splash plays to you as 49er fans. A lot of people look at that. I'll give you a perfect example. Tom Brady's amazing, right? And when we watch Tom Brady play, we can recognize why he's amazing, even though he just threw a 5-yard in route, right? I went to a Bears game one day, and it was the week after they played the Patriots, and this group up below me said, yeah, we were here last week, saw Tom Brady. And at that point, I'd never seen him live. And I said, oh, man, what was that like? Oh, it was so boring. He's the most boring quarterback. And it just blew my mind that somebody would say that. So a lot of people see Brock and they just don't understand what he's doing. And I'll tell you what,
I appreciate it.
Information so quickly. It's just, you know what I mean? He can go through the whole field, where a lot of these top 10 quarterbacks only have a half a field they can go through. Brock goes through the whole thing. Brock is more athletic than what we give him credit for. Brock is going to be really good for a long time.
I think he is, man. I like Purdy, man. He still has to learn how to throw a wet ball, right? Still got to learn to play in cold weather. But overall, man, I think the kid's on the rise. I'm not going to put the anointing oil on him yet, but I love what I see, man. Just continue to do what you do, sir, and you'll make it happen.
Well, man, this was a fun one.
This was a fun one. Yes, sir.
Preseason, we still got some stuff to talk about. We'll get to y'all again in another couple of weeks. Look for some hot take videos over the next couple of weeks from myself, and maybe Brandon will get in that game as well.
Maybe I'll jump in there, man. I'm not a big TikToker, selfie stuff, whatever.
We know, look, out of the two of us, Brandon's the one that has the following. So make sure you subscribe, share our content. Hey, comment, right? We want to hear from you. We want to know what you feel about this top 100 list. Did any quarterback that you feel like got snubbed or maybe is too high, too low? This is a conversation that could last us the rest of the year as we go through 2024. So thanks for joining us this week's QB Huddle Podcast. Until next time, keep those chains moving.
See you guys. Take care.